Well, the time came when we had to leave St. Martin and go to Antigua because Krista and Chloe had a flight to catch to go see family. Unfortunately, this meant that we had to pick a weather window to make that passage under less than ideal conditions, so we picked the least bad one. This meant leaving at about 1 a.m. on a fairly blustery night. We anchored off a little island called Ile Tinte Marie, which is just on the north side of St. Martin, and headed down towards Antigua. While we were hoping for a better wind angle on the way down, it didn't work out that way, and to the extent we were able to sail, it was very much upwind, bashing into waves. Everyone obviously has their own way of entertaining themselves while on passage, but one of the most important jobs is to keep a watch out for other boat traffic. We do this with a combination of radar, AIS, and just common sense, which is sticking your head up every 15 minutes or so just to look around and see if there's anything to look at. After about 15 hours, we were very happy to see Antigua in our sights, and we were ready to go exploring. This shipwreck is called the Andes. It sank in 1905 after a fire broke out just after it left port in Antigua. It was loaded with raw materials on its way to South America, namely Peru, for building roads. It was obviously a huge ship. I'm going to guess originally it was probably about 200 feet long, but now it's more of a fish condo. One cool thing is I was able to find the bow of the ship still intact and shallow enough for me to stand on without hurting any of the marine life.
I did it!
All right, let's go this way. After snorkeling, we decided to hike up the mountain in the bay that we were staying at. At the top of the mountain, there's this fort called Fort Barrington from 1779, almost 250 years old. Waited for you guys. Aside from the fact that it was named after a British admiral and is apparently one of the only forts in Antigua to see any actual conflict, not a lot is known about the history of the fort. The one thing it does offer is sensational views of Antigua. Back at the boat, we all found chores waiting for us, including grooming Macy, who, by the looks of it, doesn't seem to mind all that much. But the real treat was the next day, when we moved Moksha over to a different bay to go enjoy Pigs in Paradise. Pigs in Paradise is the brainchild of a British expat who lives in Antigua and came into having 2 domesticated pigs. She decided to keep them, raise more pigs, which ultimately led to the business idea to help feed and exercise all of her pigs.
Piggy! Piggy, piggy!
Keep moving, keep moving.
Hey, piggy! Hey, piggy!
Now, you may have seen video of people feeding and swimming with pigs in the Bahamas, but those are very different. Those are wild pigs, and frankly, they bite. These pigs are all domesticated, and while they're very rude to each other, they don't bite. At least they don't bite humans. So it turns out pigs can naturally swim. The one thing they can't do is tread water. So we were told when we feed them in the water to keep moving backwards to make sure that they swim rather than sink. The whole experience was also pretty educational. We learned about things like pigs being used for insulin production or skin grafts, and all sorts of other things related to pigs. But really, it was just fun to hang out with the pigs and feed them.
Oh my god! It's so cute! It's so cute! Hi, buddy! It's so happy! Hi, buddy! No, you're running. You are running in my arms. That's okay. You're so cute. Oh, look at it! Screw that. Excellent. Well done.
I think it's safe to say that after spending the afternoon with us, We actually tired the pigs out. The next day, Krista and Chloe returned to Arizona, and my friend Larry from Arizona came in to visit. So we took Moksha around to the other side of Antigua to English Harbor, where we bumped into this rowboat that was sailed by a guy named Bernie Hollywood, a 62-year-old guy who rowed for 110 days across the Atlantic Ocean. It was so impressive to meet someone who had accomplished such a feat, and he was so nice he even let me sit in his boat. Later that evening, we went up to Shirley Heights, which is right above English Harbor. Every Sunday, they have a barbecue with live music, and it frankly seemed like everyone on the island was there. After giving ourselves an additional day to chill around Antigua, we left for Guadeloupe.
All right, absolutely beautiful conditions. Got some lines out. Larry's gonna catch us dinner. Sashimi.
And we did catch a fish, although we didn't have sashimi. We ended up filleting it and having it for dinner. Guadeloupe is another French island, and it's one of the more westerly islands before you turn south into the Windward Islands. This little town is called Deschamps, on the upper east side of Guadeloupe. It's a charming little fishing village with all the other benefits of being in a French country. Speaking of food, one of the best advantages to having Larry on board is he is a masterful chef. So what kind of sauce is this?
You have a bechamel sauce.
A bechamel sauce?
Sagaga cheese, potatoes, ribeye, French bread.
This is living. This is living. Over the next couple days, we went to Barrington to the natural hot springs and to a collection of islands off the coast of Guadeloupe called the Saints. And then it was time to say goodbye to Larry. Even Macy was bummed about it. So after sailing up to Pointe Petrie, I said goodbye to Larry and tucked into this little marina called Bas du Fort. I'm going to stay here and wait for Krista and Chloe to get back, and we'll resume sailing on south towards Dominica.